What's up? Daniel-san, I'm back, and I wanted to talk about Acqua di Parma Essenza today. Acqua di Parma is an excellent house. They are a niche house from Italy. Very high quality. I have a few Acqua di Parmas. I have the Colonia and I have the leather. Um, Most of the bottles of Acqua di Parma, as far as the men's, look the same, except it's just a different colored label. But very high quality bottles, pretty thick, pretty heavy, extremely well made, really snug, well made cap. The atomizer is probably, out of all the fragrances I have and all the houses that I have fragrances from, even Dior, I think this might be my favorite atomizer. This puts out a lot of fragrance in one spray, and the distribution is perfect. It's not like too wide and it's not too narrow. It's just perfect, and it shoots out. I mean, just one squirt is all you need because a lot of fragrance comes out. Let me go ahead and read you the notes. This is a flanker. Essenza is a flanker to the original Acqua di Parma Colonia, which come out in 1916, I believe. But let me go ahead and read you the notes. Top notes: lemon, orange, bergamot, mandarin, grapefruit, neroli, petitgrain. Heart notes is rosemary, lily of the valley, rose, jasmine, and cloves. Base notes is vetiver, patchouli, white musk, amber. Something from their website. This cologne, let me read it to you. This cologne diffuses a fragrance that embodies the traditional values of the colonia, the original, while embracing a modern perspective. Discovering a reinterpretation of the original colonia fragrance, the Colonia Essenza is a citrus-scented and woody fragrance with a strong personality. Its classic freshness becomes even more vivacious with the addition of floral scents like grapefruit, mandarin, and petitgrain, all brought together by a vibrant woody patchouli base. These sophisticated woody notes lend an elegant, sober touch to this cologne. A lot of fancy words that a lot of houses use. The reason I got this and Colonia is because I'm looking forward. I'm looking ahead to this coming spring and summer. I have a few really good citrus dominant fragrances in my collection that I had from last year, but I wanted to add a couple more citrus dominant fragrances to my collection for this coming end of spring and summer. So I started looking into a lot of things, seeing what people liked and listening to a lot of reviews. Like a lot of reviewers have like their top 5 and top 10 favorite citrus dominant fragrances. So I looked at all those. Acqua di Parma come up a lot. Colonia, which I love. That's one of my favorite summer fragrances. And this popped up a lot. People were talking about this. Essenza, I think this came out in 2010, I believe. So I read everything about it. I thought about it. I listened to a lot of other reviewers and a lot of comments on Fragrantica, etc. And I was like, I think I will like this because apparently a lot of people say this is just like Colonia, except it's tweaked a little bit. It's a little bit more mature, a little bit more modern. So I was like, okay, that sounds actually perfect. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger on it and got it. And the day that I opened it, I was like, I want to go ahead and see what this smells like. So I sprayed it and got like a huge blast of like fragrance on my arm. The atomizer is killer on this thing. So the first 10 seconds that I smelled, I had this big, huge smile on my face. I was like, this is going to be a beautiful citrus fragrance. And it was for like 15 seconds. And then that fresh, bright, sparkly, juicy citrus bomb dissipated after about 15 seconds. And then I got a neroli white floral bomb from this. And I waited for like 5 minutes and it was still like a bunch of neroli, bunch of white floral. Um, lemon verbena is not listed in the notes, but it seems like I'm getting a lot of lemon verbena too. And I kept waiting and waiting, hoping that that citrus, that bright citrus would come back, that juicy, realistic citrus. Like when you cut open an orange or grapefruit, it never did. Never did. It stayed neroli white floral, or at least that's what I get. Um, all the way to the dry down. The dry down is actually the only part that I really like in this fragrance. Beautiful, beautiful dry down. It even had some rose in the dry down, a little bit of sweetness, really nice dry down. But the opening and the mid of this is not what I was expecting. Not from what everybody said, not from what I read. I was expecting juicy, bright, sparkling citrus all the way through with some added stuff. Nope, I didn't get that. I got a lot of neroli and white floral. There, I guess you could consider that citrus, but it's not the kind of citrus that I wanted. This is more of a floral citrus, sort of a dull floral citrus. Not quite powdery, but it's a dull floral citrus. It's not like the bright, juicy, realistic citrus that I was expecting. So the first 10 seconds was great and the dry down is great, but the pretty much the majority of the opening and the mid is just like it's not what I was expecting. It's not something that I like. I like neroli, don't get me wrong. As a matter of fact, after about 15 seconds, when it turned into a neroli fragrance, it reminded me immediately of of a fragrance that I really love, Bright Neroli by Ferrari. This, through from the opening to the mid, smells really, really similar to Bright Neroli by Ferrari, and I was just not expecting that. So I'm a bit disappointed, I guess you could say. Um, and actually, after about 30 minutes after I sprayed this, I did get something, and the only thing I can think of is there's an accord that comes in after about 30 minutes. And I think it might be a patchouli that they use in here, and that patchouli is just maybe a little bit of a dirty patchouli. I think that's one thing that a lot of people were talking about it's more mature and a little bit darker than the original Colonia. But it smells synthetic to me, and that's another thing that I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Um, I never heard anybody talk about that either. It's got a little bit of syntheticness to it in the mid. It doesn't stay that way for a very long time, but there is a little bit of synthetic patchouli in the mid, and that's another thing that I was disappointed in. I was just actually expecting more because I love this house. This is actually one of my favorite houses in, I don't know, probably my top 8 favorite houses in my collection. Um, my God, Colonia is excellent. Leather is excellent. This, to me, in my personal opinion, is not excellent. I was expecting a lot more, especially from everything that I heard. Um, I don't know, man. It's just, I'm disappointed. Um, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I don't like this. Well, yeah, I do too. It's not what I was expecting. It's not what I heard it's going to be. And that little synthetic in there. And this was supposed to be a really bright, sparkly citrus, and it's not. It's wearable. It's a good fragrance, but I am disappointed. As a matter of fact, if I was blindfolded, and I never smelled this before, if somebody blindfolded me and sprayed this on my arm and I smelled it, I was like, it's either Bright and Rolly by Ferrari or either a designer. This I would say it was a designer fragrance that a designer house come out for maybe spring that has a lot of neroli and white floral. That's what I would think in my head if I didn't, if I smelled this blindfolded. So, and with the money that I spent on this, Acqua di Parma is actually pretty expensive and very high quality house. And I just, nope, I don't like it. Well, I like it, but I'm really disappointed. So, anyway, uh, we can't have everything perfect just for us, and I know that. I don't expect to get every fragrance and expect to love every fragrance that I have in my collection that I buy. I don't expect that. I'm expecting to get something that I'm going to be disappointed in. I know that. So stay tuned. I have a lot of fragrances that I'm getting ready to do. Leather for one, Colonia, the original, which I love, a bunch of other fragrances. So stay tuned for that. And I'll talk to y'all later. Not really.